Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Life is kind of stressful. Even more so, I'd have to say, even recently. Lots going on, lots of changes around us. With that comes a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and we have to find a way to cope. We can't just keep piloting without some kind of, home base, if you will. Today, we're going to talk about coping techniques, how to be mindful of what's going on in your body, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And she's somebody that counsels and helps coaches people to successful outcomes. She offers many different group classes, and I've learned a lot from her in the last couple of weeks. Great to have her back here. Yvonne Lee is with us. How are you today?
Well, thank you, Steve, for asking. Happy to be back here again.
Yeah, this is important and kind of universal in our
Mhm.
lives, dealing with
Absolutely.
situations that pop up that could trigger us, and just in general, coping with them. What's the
Mm.
starting point? How do you identify what's going to work for you, or what suggestions can you give when we're dealing with something?
Absolutely. There are some general techniques you can use, right, that we talk about in school and when we first begin practice. There's things like mindfulness. And it sounds exactly like what you said, being mindful of your body, so kind of checking in with yourself. You feel yourself getting anxious. Are your shoulders stiff? Is your back aching? Is your breathing kind of rapid? Hands sweating? Those type of things. So mindfulness is about focusing on what you're feeling in the moment. If you were working with me, then I would say, let's just pause for a moment. Tell me what you're feeling right now. How tense are your legs, your arms, your hands? And allow that person to just be aware in that moment and then kind of loosen each part. Right? Start from the bottom up or top down. Just let's begin to unleash, open your hands, wiggle your fingers, type of just being aware. And then there's grounding techniques, right? And that's kind of putting you back to your centered self. I use that many times for clients that are dealing with anxiety because the main thing about anxiety is that it's in your head. It's fears of what is to come, not current. It's this could happen, this might happen in case it happens. And since you can't do anything about the future, all you can do is deal with this moment. So you need to ground yourself. For some people, that is, I will tell them if you're wearing a ring, rub your hand hard against your ring. If you have a sharp edge to your nail, then poke yourself in the arm with it really tightly. It's just about finding a way to recenter yourself. You can do what's called four square breathing. So you breathe out for 5 seconds. You got to one square, one corner, and then breathe in for 5 seconds, the next corner. So just picture that square as you're breathing 5 seconds from corner to corner. It centers you because you have to focus. So it helps them get out of their head back in the moment because you can't always call somebody. They won't pick up the phone. And if you're at work, you can't just get up and leave, right? And sometimes people have sudden anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and they need to ground themselves so they can continue going. So there's a lot you can do. And as you said, people are going through a lot.
Is this more of a technique to refocus your attention away from what's going on? Because I've often heard too, another way to get it done is just rub your fingers together and focus on your thumbprint or your fingerprint.
You're feeling exactly. Just
Yeah.
that sensation of running it together. There's so many different ways, and how I would discover the best technique for you is just what feels most comfortable. For some people it is I do have a hard edge to my nail and they like to rub it, or they always have their wedding band perhaps, and they'll rub it against the stone or against the side of the band. It's what's most comfortable for you because a lot of times people will say, I don't want anybody to know that I'm going through. How can I deal with it and
Yep.
not alert others around me? Right. So being able to do it in a way that won't make somebody look at you funny and that's comfortable for you.
And that's the best part. You could be in a very
Absolutely.
stressful work meeting
Yep.
and nobody knows what you're doing, where you're
At
rubbing your
all.
fingers or just, touching a ring, which is people
Mm-hmm.
do this all the time, just play with
Absolutely.
on their finger. Um, but it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it takes your attention away from it.
Absolutely.
What about breathing? We always hear it's so impactful. Many of us kind of just push it over to the side. Like, "Oh, really, I'm breathing now anyway. What difference is it going to make?" But It's a big difference, isn't it?
It's a big difference because purpose breathing is different from just what we're doing naturally. Like now, we're not paying attention, we're not focused on the in and out. But when you have specific seconds, when you are picturing one corner of the square to the other, you do have to focus. So breathing in itself right now, it's mindfulness. You're not thinking about it. It's just what we do. You're right. But if you have to be purposed in it, hold and then release through the nose or through the mouth, then you can't keep doing what you're doing or thinking. And that's, again, people usually in their head. You can't keep thinking about those things. You have to focus. It's all about redirection, one way or another. It's just
Mm.
redirecting.
I've heard 4-4-8, excuse me, on the breathing, meaning
Yes.
4 seconds in, hold
Hmm.
4 seconds, and then
Hmm.
so slowly let it out that it takes 8 seconds.
Exactly.
Is that a typical breathing formula?
I don't know if one is typical. I said I do four square, you can do tens. The 448 is also common. I think they're just different ways of
Hmm.
achieving the same end. So I don't think one is better than another, but it is whichever one is right for you. You
Teach
know,
us,
I'm
teach
sorry, go
us one of
ahead.
the ones that you mentioned. Pick one.
My four square, absolutely. I like that. So I would say picture a square. And it obviously needs to be big enough. And I just want to start, picture the upper left corner
Gotcha.
and breathe in with me. I'm going to breathe in 5 seconds to the corner. We're there, breathe out. Next corner. Okay, breathe in. Down to that corner and breathe out. Last corner. And then I would do it again. Same cycle up. That first corner over. Breathing out, okay. Breathe in again. Down to the last corner and breathe out. Final corner.
Hmm. Hmm.
Exactly.
Interesting. Very visual. And
Yes.
as we did that, it reminded me somebody does a triangle, like a half triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Um,
Absolutely.
very relaxing. We don't
Very
realize it.
relaxing. No. And you can do it with somebody, you can do it by yourself. Once you get in a habit of it, it's easy. Once you learn that it works, and that is also why I tend to do it in office first with somebody, if we're doing virtual or in person, because I do want you to practice it with me. I want you to see how it feels in this safe space, a safe environment where there's only the two of us and no judgment. And once they realize, and many times they have the same reaction you have, okay, that was rather, yeah, I feel the relaxing of my shoulders. They've come down from my ears. My hands are a little less tense. Then people are more inclined to do it. It's only when you listen to it and you're like, oh, that's not going to work for me. That, I breathe, I don't understand. It's like, we can give it a try. Therapy is a lot like just, the old adage, throw spaghetti and see what sticks.
Mm.
That's what it is. We're going to try one thing. If that doesn't work for you, let's try another. For me, I enjoy teaching it because I hope people will teach it to their kids. Being in school today is not just the regular stress that comes with learning and lessons. There's stress from what's happening in the world. Our kids are aware of the violence in school. There's so many things they're dealing with from COVID and just the changes that have happened. If we think we're feeling anxious, imagine how much our kids are. If you can have a technique, you can teach it.
It's for me with the breathing, I
Mhm.
know it works. I'll be honest, I always forget when I'm in a stressful, challenging situation. I
Mhm.
got to fix it, got to get it done. Like, duh, breathe.
Yes.
Just breathe. Like you're forgetting, and once you
Mhm.
do, it's like hitting a reset button. You just feel so fantastic and just like, okay, it's all calmed
Mhm.
down. Now I can pilot forward. And what did it take? 15 seconds, 20, something like that.
Absolutely. In total. And to your point, many times people will say, all of this is great, it's fine, but in the moment when I'm upset, when I'm feeling it, I forget. That's also why we say to practice it. right? It's
Mhm.
it's the muscle memory of it. So it's not your common response to what you're feeling. Of course you're not going to do it, or of course you're going to forget to. That's okay. There's no judgment on it. That makes sense, but that's why we're going to practice it. When I see you again, I'm going to ask you, and then we're going to practice it during session. And then if you have somebody who's like an accountability partner, that helps in therapy, because where you won't remember, hopefully there's somebody in your life who will check in with you or who will be there and remind them to do their breathing. When you see them tensing, when you notice their breathing is a little more erratic, when you see they appear a bit tense, remind them to help them. But eventually, a lot of it does come down to muscle memory. The more you practice, the more you're reminded, the more somebody tells you now is the time. Remember the mindfulness, or let's practice the grounding, the breathing. It will become a common response. You're really just teaching yourself to react differently. The panic is going to happen again. The anxiety is going to happen again. You just have to get some new practices in how to manage it. And that takes time. Habits develop over time, right? We're just going to start a new habit.
Yep. It's got to become a habit.
Exactly so.
All right.
Exactly so.
One of the ways to cope, grounding.
Mhm.
And instead of me giving my view of it, tell me what is grounding and what can we do?
Absolutely. Grounding, as I mentioned, is just a matter of something that can shock your mind out of the anxious moment that you're in. So, again, do you have a sharp edge? If you're in your car, sometimes a panic attack can hit you so suddenly you do not have time to pull over. You don't have time to get to a resting place. So, but your ring is on your finger, right? Or your nails, your leg is right there. So what can you do in the moment? Put your hand on your finger and just start rubbing really hard until it hurts. Really ground your finger into it. Press your nail against your thumbnail maybe against your forefinger, and really hard until it starts to hurt. You have to force your mind to come out of the feeling that it's had. It's got a burst of energy. It's riled up. You're going into fight or flight. You have to call it back. You have to recenter yourself. So whatever is near you, whatever is present, and that's always what's on your body, use that. Take your nail and rub your leg really hard through your pant or skirt, whatever is going to force you to focus away from what's happening with you. It's just the redirection again, getting your mind back to center.
So another grounding technique. And when I first heard it, I'm like, it's kind of woo woo. What's that going to do for you?
Mm.
Go outside, walk barefoot, um, hug or touch a tree. I know it sounds
Mhm.
ridiculous, but that's why when lightning strikes and it hits it, why does it hit a tree? Because it's looking for the easiest path to ground.
Exactly.
Is massive with its roots in the ground.
Hmm.
I never believed in this until there's two things here, and I just want to share them because this is where it came clear. Maybe it will for others.
Hmm.
Sold a house a couple of years ago, and now I don't have a backyard. I'm in between houses, actually. The prices
Hmm.
here in New York crazy, waiting for the right
Yes.
situation. I used to love gardening. I would walk
Mm.
barefoot all the time. And then I realized what's missing in my life. And it's that being
Mhm.
in the dirt and the earth and all of that. And now, yeah, I have a tree with me around me. I actually look forward to going home and just going near a tree. It
Mhm.
makes me feel better. Or just even walking just outside, just to
Mhm.
take that and take it a step further. Right now, below me, I have a grounding mat. $20, Amazon.
Mhm.
It connects to the ground lug on
Mhm.
your electrical outlet. You're not going to get a shock, don't worry. Where does that go? To a big copper wire, to a big long copper pipe that goes in the ground.
Mhm.
That, so that's my grounding journey. I'd love to hear any other thoughts from you.
Um, for myself, my grounding is reading. It
Oh,
really is. It's getting on the floor. So that's my kind of grounding. It's getting on a hard floor.
okay.
It can be on the porch, just with a book. And it really centers me. It doesn't matter what I'm reading, but it's always me sitting on the floor. Like, it's not on the bed. If I'm upset, I need to feel like the hardness against me. I need to feel that grounding.
Well,
And I just get
yeah.
on the floor, sit there hard. My shoes are off, so I can just feel what's under me and just sit in that moment and enjoy the book. So if you are a nature lover outside, if you're inside, whatever is your comfort place. But when you're someplace where you cannot do that, where it's not readily available, then using what you have, whatever recenters, redirects. For children, it's different. If you're doing with them, sometimes it's for some children, a lot of it is the roughness. A lot of my children have enjoyed going to like the gymboree. It is just, hard metal, it's centered, and just pulling themselves up, playing on it, touching it.
Hmm.
It's the comfort of it, it's the grounding of it. It's something solid and unmovable. And it just centers you,
I
you
want to
know.
drop a thought in here. Part of this is we have intuition. We have lots of amazing powers that we're born with that we don't really use, most of us.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when you look at an animal, and yeah, they don't have to worry about mortgage payments and rent and car payments and all of that, but
Sure.
they are so keen on picking up, when somebody says, I think my dog knows what I'm thinking or talking about, they do.
Absolutely.
They're able to pick up on your energy and read it.
Mhm.
But this, I believe, is a one of the essentials to make all of that happen. Of course, they don't have to focus on the stuff that we do. They don't wear shoes. They're always on the ground.
Well, there's that. Isn't that
Right?
true? Well, they're connected in a way, aren't they? Or how about for the best reasons all of the reasons that you gave, they don't have to worry about the other things that distract us, right? In our purest sense, it is
Yeah.
not about our bills. It is not about our concerns of having. We don't have. It is I'm enough. This moment is enough. What I have is enough. At your most basic self can be your most peaceful. It can be your most relaxing because I have no other worries. That animal, wherever it is, they are not worried about having a place to lay. It's wonderful to make a space for them in your house, but they are going to make a space wherever they are, outside or inside, and they will make it their place and they will find their place to, go to the bathrooms. They will find their place where they eat. Animals are accepting of where they are and they make a space wherever they are. And humans, but I have to have the right space, I have to have the right furniture, the right color, the right, you
Mm,
know, um, details. We can drive ourselves crazy making a peaceful place. Isn't that
wow.
crazy? Just to make the place, we can drive ourselves nuts.
Wow.
Animals don't. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for saying that. That's an eye opener.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
you just woke me up in a big way. Seriously, that's and live in the moment. So that's essentially what you're saying. And what does an animal
Very much
do?
so.
They live in this moment.
Absolutely.
They don't remember things, it's in the back of their mind, but they're not worried about over
Mhm.
here and over here. It's right in this moment. To your point, they don't have to worry about where they're going to lay down or whatever. They know they'll figure it out. We'll find a
They do.
spot. But
Absolutely.
that comfy couch is great. I'm sure that, that blanket you threw
Sure.
down there and they jump right up on it. Yeah, they're
Lovely.
but
Yes.
if it wasn't there, they figure it out. They'd be okay. They'd be
They
all right.
really would. And
Mm,
even if they are, you've seen animals whose owner has passed away on them.
yeah.
It's not like they don't feel loss. It's not like that won't, make them mourn or make them unhappy. Absolutely. But they will go on. I will find another place. If you take that animal from where they live, from the owner that's no longer there, they will be sad, but they will adjust in another place. They will mourn in it, but they're going to sleep. They're going to eat, they will go on. And humans, we worry so. And the biggest part of adjusting, pivoting, being able to deal with all the life that comes at you is your ability to pivot, adjust to what happened. I know that things are scary. I know it doesn't always go right. I know we do have worries because bills are a fact of life. Having a roof is a fact of life. But some people have chosen to leave all of that extra and say, I'd rather live in my car so I can go and move. People are living in buses. A lot of people have decided I will not let all the aspirations society have set be what drives me crazy. So we're finding our own peace. And the more often we decide that we determine what our goals are and what our achievements are, the easier it is
Mm.
to adjust. But if you can't, then please come let me help you. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of this story, but remember the group En Vogue?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Dawn one of the members of In Vogue,
Hmm.
has said in the past couple of days, she went public with this. She lives in her car. She lives in
Wow.
her car, and it's by choice. She was
Exactly.
living in one situation, and a manager connected, and it was toxic. She said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna live in my car. And she said
Mhm.
this, don't feel sorry for me. I'm good. I'm fine. This is wonderful. I'm living a good life. It's good for me. And that's it.
Exactly so.
Mm,
Exactly so. Because
wow.
nobody determines it for you. You have to be strong enough to say, this is good for me. And it doesn't need to be accepted by anybody. And I know this may be very hard for some people to hear, but your family doesn't need to accept what you deem successful. They
Yeah.
do not. You do not need their approval. If this is your happiness, then they will adjust to it, hopefully. Or if not, they're going to have to deal with the unhappiness of it. Don't make it your issue. And I'm not saying disregard your family, but if I can't convince you that this is my happiness, I'm not going to fight you for my happiness. It
Mm,
just is. And we oftentimes want to please other people, but again, ground, center yourself. Remember
yeah.
that it's about you,
Yeah.
you know?
And along with everything that you just said, so many have said, had the house, had the spouse, had the kids,
Absolutely.
had the big fence, had the pets, had the cars, had all of it. House on a
Yes.
hill, wonderful. It didn't mean anything. They thought that that's what they needed. That's what, show success.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. And in
Mm-hmm.
the end, it wasn't. There was emptiness. It was emptiness. It was a facade for many in many regards. They thought the relationship was this. It wasn't. It wasn't. It's just
Mm-hmm.
having, I guess the word is peace. And
Yes.
side note here, I used to go to church when I was younger and even up until a few years ago, honestly. And you'd hear, peace be with you, peace be with you, peace be with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just say it, peace be with you too, peace be with you, peace. I didn't know what it meant. I had no idea what it meant
Absolutely.
until I realized I didn't have peace.
Right.
And then when I figured that out, it's like, oh, that's what everybody was talking about. Yeah.
And actually meaning it. You made it, a monologue, if you will, but it peace be with you. Peace I give to you. Peace I pray for you. I hope you have peace. However, that's not something you can give to somebody else. They
Nope.
have to accept it. They have to want it. And to that same conversation that you're saying, this is why so many times people can kind of find their happy place and they think things are good, especially when you're young. I'm going to get the house and I'm going to get the car and I'm going to have the savings. And I'm absolutely. But as you get older and you achieve one goal after the next, and you keep going, well, if I've got everything I wanted, now what? Many times you'll hear younger people, this never fails to tickle me when you hear maybe younger people are just starting their career. Oh, well, it's easier for older people to say not to worry about things or not to stress about things you've already done. That's very true. But that's also why they say living is for the young, right? Because if I was to go back now, probably would not have had that same drive that I did then because I was trying to achieve. Well, if I
Mm,
took this wisdom and went back, I'd pick purposed goals that I wanted to do. I have more, defined. I'm not just trying to get somewhere. I have a specific place where I'm going. But some things come later in life for a reason.
mm,
So get what you're getting, strive to do, but do it hopefully without losing you. And some people find their peace and then lose it again. Well, what were you doing when you had peace? And people say, well, I used to go to the gym. I used to practice yoga. But you stopped. Well, yeah, something happened and I was no longer able to. Then that may be why you find yourself frazzled. That was something you maybe took
yeah.
for granted. It was a habit, but it helped you. Let's introduce it again.
Yeah.
Let's see what it makes a difference. Maybe a couple of days a week. You find what works for you. And yet, when things get better, we tend to stop. Oh, I'm better now. But you're better because this helps. This centers. You've got one. Don't worry about the next. This works. This is good. And as Dawn said, well, I've had these things. I'm not worried about getting them anymore. Having had them, it's okay.
Yeah.
Side note, as you said, I grew up in New York in the house, two cars, family cars at private school. We always had a tree, but never a real tree. I wanted a real tree. Moved down here with my husband, after his second retiring, and in South Carolina. And my husband gets me a real tree, and I loved it, the smell of pine. And then it dries by the time you get rid of it. There's pine needles everywhere. They're on the carpet. Oh my goodness. You have to take it out of the house. There's pine needles through the living room. And I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about a real tree anymore. This is a lot of work. A fake tree, I just put it back in the box and I put it away. This real tree, it has to be watered. It takes so much work.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, sometimes you can want something and think, oh, I'm achieving, this is going to be great. And then you get it. That was extra work there. I didn't know that
100%.
came with that.
And yeah, I guess we'll close, but the thing you just said about a young person, having everything they wanted, in life,
Absolutely.
striving for it, maybe it should also be everything they think they wanted,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
How do we connect with you, Yvonne? Somebody wants to figure this all out, needs coping techniques, whatever it might be, needs to talk to somebody. How do we do that?
Absolutely. Please, you can Google Counseling and Shifting Perspectives Group. Go to my website, candspg.com, or find me on Facebook. Same thing, candspg.com, Counseling and Shifting Perspectives Group, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. I'd be happy to connect.
Yeah, you offer so much in terms of classes, counseling, resources, all of that. Yeah, start a conversation. Start a conversation.
Absolutely.
All right. I got to run because I got a tree that's waiting for me. So,
Yes, indeed.
and honestly, I'm not even making that up. I'm looking forward. It's weather's a little bit nicer today in New York. Walking my dog and
Yeah.
just taking it easy. Just
Rub some bark today.
taking it all in. Exactly.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll catch up next time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Steve.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.